Thanks, Justin.
We like to tell atheists where to go. Not just atheists, actually, but agnostics, freethinkers, humanists, and anyone who's just plain non-religious. You can go straight to the secular directory at godlessgroups.org.
And welcome to Atheist Airwaves on Corpus Christi Community Radio. I'm Jay Guerrero.
I'm Justin Quintanilla.
I'm Sara Keefer.
And I'm Christian Ferris.
Atheist Airwaves is Corpus Christi's only radio show for atheists and the secular-minded. We're sponsored by Corpus Christi Atheists and the South Texas Coalition of Reason. Corpus Christi Atheists meets every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. This weekend will be at Executive Surf Club. Is that right?
That is
I
it.
got it right? Okay, cool. Please visit us at ccatheist.com for a complete listing of our events, or visit southtexascor.com to connect with any of our sister organizations. That's from Corpus to Brownsville. And don't forget to tune in for other local radio publications on cccomradio.com. Today, we're going to be discussing several things. We got
Probably.
idiot theists, idiot atheists, some helpless babies. They're yummy. A mummy monk. I don't know. Some other stuff's going on too. But first, let's talk about a couple of things we got coming up. I know we've mentioned this several times. We've got the glass recycling event. Come help us break stuff and clean up Corpus. It's going to be next Saturday after next, December the 14th, I think.
Correct.
And then there's Bridge Walk, Saturday 9 a.m.
Sunday. This Sunday.
This Sunday, 9 a.m.
December 9th? Is that what this Sunday is?
Better than church.
Whatever this Sunday.
The 8th.
8th.
The 7th is the Rumble in the Pub, so.
Okay. December 8th, 9 a.m. downtown at the Harbor Bridge. We're going to walk across the bridge. We're going to walk back across the bridge.
And there's cocaine?
No, there's actual snow.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was cold and fluffy. They're going to have a snow machine. And they're
Oh,
gonna
it's
make
real snow? I thought it was like bubble snow.
No.
What is bubble snow?
I don't think so. I think
Like
it's,
if you go to Disney World at Christmas and they have like bubbles and it looks like snow, but it's not really snow.
I don't think so.
Bubbles.
I think that would be a
Really sad.
disaster in Corpus Christi. There would be bubbles everywhere.
So the guy on the intro actually kind of had me fooled. I thought he was going to tell me to go somewhere else.
Right?
Yeah.
But apparently you can go to the seculardirectory.org.
Yeah. And these are nationwide commercials that are running. So that was just a little snippet of it. It's being run by the United Coalition of Reason, which is the mothership for the South Texas Coalition of Reason. And if you go to their site, we're one of the photos on the front page.
Maybe like the third or the fourth slide?
Well, the third slide, yeah. So you'll see the South Texas Coalition of Reason folks there, and they got every single one of our. Well, I mean, I suppose they should because we're part of their organization. But they got it nailed. I went in there trying to think. I was thinking that there was going to be nothing in Corpus Christi, but they've got us all there. So we're.
Yeah, we had a pretty large group in comparison to some of the other pictures too.
I know.
We were like the second or third largest group.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Representing in South Texas. Yeah, my dad was the one who actually told me about that. He came down for Thanksgiving and he's like, "Have you heard those atheist commercials on the radio?" And I was like, "No, don't really listen to the radio." But you know,
They're on the radio down here?
Huh?
They're on the radio down here?
Nationwide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know who's running them? I mean, obviously.
United Coalition of Reason.
Yeah, but is there like a specific radio, like Clear Channel or something like that that's running them?
XM Sirius Radio is I think
really?
where he's hearing them.
That's really cool. That's a good wide audience.
Yeah. So, you know, and he had the same reaction when he first heard them. His ears perked up. He's not an atheist. He's a deist, but, you know.
He deals with you.
He deals with me all the time. So. But his ears perked up, and he thought it was like something bad, and so, you know, it got his attention. So.
That was a really good radio spot. It
Yeah.
sounds really good. It's it's not just entertaining, but it draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, has anyone? I think it's the You Don't Know Jack games on
Heard of it.
consoles. It's the same voiceover guy. So, you know, they got that going for him too.
Well funded.
Yeah. They've got that one anonymous wealthy donor that pays for everything.
That's
Wow.
really nice.
One guy.
Hopefully that guy can hook up with these other folks. They have an Indiegogo thing going on. It's a documentary. It's a donation opportunity for anybody who wants to get involved in it. It's called A Scarlet Letter, an Atheist Documentary. They've already filmed, I think, pretty much all of it. They've gone through various locations and talked to various people, some big names, some not so big names, and they're trying to get some money raised to publish it, I guess, to produce it,
Distribute.
all that stuff.
Right.
They've got $7,300, $7,350. They're looking for a minimum of $13,000. So you can go to indiegogo.com/projects, and I think it's slash.
I'll put the links in the show notes. I have not
Yeah.
been doing that, but I will start doing that
Yeah,
from
let's
now
definitely
on.
do that.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
this
you
would
can
be a
go to cccomradio.com or ustream.com, ustream.tv, and those links will be there shortly after the show.
We'll put them on our page too, I think.
There you go,
on the
yeah,
on
yeah.
the Corpus Christi
Good
Atheists on Facebook.
And South Texas Coalition of Reason. What the
all of
heck?
them.
We'll put 'em
Let's
on
just spam it. Let's help them out. They've got 22 days left, and they need to raise some money. So let's get in there.
They've already got some big names in there. You know, I was looking
really do.
at the footage they put out there, and I saw P.Z. Myers, who's a biologist out there. I love P.Z. Myers. They had Dave Silverman, the president of American Atheists, and who else did I see? Bill Gates, who is an atheist.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Shows how informed I am.
Yes.
So maybe.
But I also like that they were also just talking to normal people. You know, that wasn't
Yeah.
just, you know, talking to guys like Bill Gates and Dave Silverman and P.Z. Myers and Richard Dawkins, you know, those big name people, but just talking to regular normal people of all ages and backgrounds about why they're atheists and how that works in their lives.
Yeah, you can go check out the trailer. It shows everything we've seen so far.
So does Bill Gates actually identify as an atheist, or is he like
Yes.
an?
Yeah, I think he
Okay.
does.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's not like a
An
Neil deGrasse Tyson
Right.
type. He's
An atheist that doesn't identify as an
right,
atheist.
exactly. He identifies as an atheist.
That's weird.
This was not in our. Maybe it should have been, but I kind of want to tie in that I really appreciate them talking to just regular everyday atheists and know what is on people's minds. This past week, KRIS TV ran a special called Faithless about why people are leaving the church in droves, and the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, the people with no religious affiliation, are
Sure, yeah, we've talked about that a couple
Yep,
times.
skyrocketing. And I just wanted to mention how horrible it was that they're going to talk about our demographic and who we are, and not speak to a single atheist or agnostic.
Really, I didn't see it, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disappointing because they were exploring whether it's a problem or not, and you think they'd want to talk to someone who actually is part of the problem.
Well, no, because they're going to be like, yeah, it's a problem. Everybody get the heck out.
I feel like they were just trying to cause pity for churches.
Yeah.
That's all the whole piece was about.
Advertising.
The one thing I did like about it, though, I think the last line was, does it matter if people are leaving the churches and not volunteering at their charities? Does it really matter if they're going to do those things? I mean, we're out there doing that stuff probably a lot
Sure.
more than a lot of churches are. And I would answer that question, no, I don't think it does matter.
I would agree.
I'm sure there's all sorts of different opinions on it, and I'm sure if you go to the KRS page, there's surely commentary.
we were helpfully pointed in the direction.
Oh, were we?
You're welcome.
So I think some of these things, the atheist documentaries, the pushes that we've seen on the news with the signs, the billboards and all that, I think they might be having an effect, at least to some degree, because in New Braunfels, they have apparently been asked to put up some Keep Christ in Christmas signs. Apparently it's a decades-old tradition that they put up signs or banners across the street in New Braunfels. I used to live there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I don't remember these things. I'm sure they were there, but they've
But
decided...
the banners in the past were just like Merry Christmas.
Oh, were they?
They weren't, I believe, when I read it, I didn't think that they were Keep Christ in Christmas. I think they were just Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Well,
whatever.
they said that it's, they charge $60 per sign that they put up. And basically the town just sends out the public utilities people to throw up signs from private groups that
Right.
promote their group or events coming up or whatever. And then this year, I think they had a, whoa, we're going to get sued moment when they got a request to hang up those Keep Christ in Christmas.
Yeah, basically, they put the brakes on it really
Right.
fast, and they said, well, we might want to talk to some folks and see if this is a really good idea or not, which I think means that maybe our campaigns, not specifically ours, but our movement, is making some headway.
Yeah.
At least they're afraid of us. That's the first step, right? make them fear you. So they had a measure, the town council had a measure that would specifically prohibit commercial, religious, and political advertising in that program, but they put that on hold pending I think a seven-member panel to study the issue and whether they're going to get their pantsuit off them if they put those up.
Now, I want to know who's on this panel.
Yes, I was wondering the same thing.
It's appointed by the council, so I'm sure it's going to be people that will give them the answer they're looking for. And the answer they're looking for is they want to put them up. I mean, the mayor of New Braunfels, Mayor Gail Possipil, which sounds like some kind of drug you should totally ask your doctor to ask if it's right for you.
Is this something that someone you know can prescribe us?
It might work for whatever Justin has.
How's that numb tongue coming? Anyway, the mayor said that they'd like to put up, they being the council, that they'd like to put up those signs as long as they can be reasonably sure they won't get sued for it. And
No, I would say if they do put that up, that somebody should be trying to put up
right.
like one of our banners.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Well, this is what this is the question I wanted to ask was, this is not. I mean, this is basically like the state putting up a nativity scene in their, or letting someone put the nativity scene at the courthouse, because I think they're putting them up on the light poles. I mean, they're putting them up on city property.
It's almost like advertising, though. So if you're paying to advertise,
Well,
you can advertise whatever you want.
It's not paid advertisement. They're paying the workers to put them up.
So they're not advertisements for like local companies, but local companies are the ones helping foot the bill to actually get the people out there to do it. Is that right?
Right. Yes,
Okay.
that's what it is. So, I don't know why we would all just not agree to, hey, let's just keep this, we'll keep our stuff in our homes, you keep your stuff in your homes, and we just, whatever. That seems like a better idea to me, but if they're going to allow Keep Christ in Christmas, they're going to have to put up nice signs that say, get Christ out of Christmas.
Or like Happy Winter Solstice.
Right.
Or keep the Satan in Santa.
Exactly.
Can we go like rent a cherry picker and put our own up?
No, I don't think they'd let you do that.
Well, who's going to stop me? I'll do it like 3 o'clock in the morning.
The sheriff?
You always have a good point. I'm tired of this. I'm trying to do fun stuff.
Sorry.
So the other side of that coin with the making headway is something that I know Christian is about to have an aneurysm over here about.
We might want to have like a moment of silence so I can center myself. There's that blood when we talk about this story.
Apparently, there is a large push, and you can go to, and I'm going to plug it just because I feel like I have to, so other people can see this idiocy.
Don't go see it.
Militaryfreedom.org, you can go see this trailer. Repression of the Christian faith in the military. I'm going to let somebody else talk about it, because you're going to have way more to say than I am.
I had to head desk so many times while I was watching this thing. It's such a disaster.
What was the part, Sarah, that you heard?
When they were complaining that they were being forced to be tolerant of other people's views.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor
I also think it's interesting that they all had their faces blurred out and their voices like camouflaged.
Super clandestine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, because that was the one thing that really stood out to me. Is they've all got their voices changed. They're all fuzzed out, so you can't identify them.
So these people could not even have ever been in the military. We have no idea.
Theoretically.
I mean, it could be anybody.
Even better, Matthew chapter 10, verse 33 says, whoever disowns me before others, this is Jesus talking.
Whoever Jesus voice.
Then I would be silent. But whoever disowns me before others, I will disown before my Father in heaven. And I'm pretty sure that if you're not willing to come out and say, without your voice all jacked up and you're...
That's a good point.
pretty much you've just disowned Jesus, and, he's going to be like, nope, sorry, dude, I don't know you. When
I don't know, your face is so blurred.
All of you humans look the same to me.
They sound the same.
I can just see St. Peter with his book going, wait, did you do this? Wait, you didn't show your face, did you? No.
I think I recognize your blurry outline from a Chris Hansen Catch a Predator thing. Is that where I know you from?
But I was confused about what their point was. Like, I wasn't sure if they were saying we are being persecuted as Christians in the military, or they want the military to be a Christian establishment. And
I think both.
Both, yeah.
They were bringing up points like they took a steeple down from a church on base or something, and what were some of the other absurd things?
They claimed that Christian prayers were banned at all military funerals in 2011. Does anyone want to go out on a limb and say they believe that actually happened?
I find it hard to believe.
I don't see that happening now.
I find that hard to believe.
This is so typical of right-wing Christianity, is that,
This reminds me of like InfoWars.
Yes, this is exactly exactly where I'm going with this. Is that someone makes something up, loosely based on a fact, and they put it in a meme form, or they throw it out as red meat into the right-wing evangelical forums, and they just run with it. They don't give a if it's true or not. They just go with it. So this one, the Christian prayers are banned at military funerals.
I just have to think that if that were true, I mean, how many military funerals have there been in the past 2 years? That there would be a lot of really
angry
pissed off
people?
Really? Yeah, you would have heard about this in way bigger.
Guess what? It's because it's not true. It's totally made up. What actually happened in 2011 was that a very low-level Veterans Affairs employee asked for going forward that all funerals respect the religious preferences, if any, of the deceased person's family. So, every funeral can't have Christian prayers if the family is not Christian. So if you've got a Jewish family and this soldier who died was Christian, or an atheist soldier, and they request not to have Christian prayers at their, at the funeral, that's what happened. And
they're upset about not being able to force their beliefs on other people.
Yeah, basically.
I think at one point what you were saying, Sarah, is that they're being forced to be tolerant, and they're mad about it.
I was forced to attend a funeral where they did not say a Christian prayer.
Yeah, he made some comments about how someone was like court-martialed or something for standing up against a same-sex marriage or something like that. Yeah, I mean, like, really? I mean, don't be a douche.
Well, first of all, if he wasn't fired for that, but if he were, good.
Yeah.
Right. Good. I fire that guy every single time.
Yeah, so their tagline is "Restore military religious freedom, keeping faith with our troops."
And then he brought up that there are no atheists in foxholes, but I didn't really understand how he was tying that into anything.
But he just wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned it, but it didn't really tie into anything that they were saying.
I pretty much, that was the point where I started raging at the video, because he says that pretty early on, and I was just like, F you, buddy. Come to any one of our meetups, and I will show you a veteran who has served overseas, who is an atheist and has been in a foxhole.
Well, I mean, in his defense, do they really have foxholes? I mean,
I think they do.
I thought that was more for the World War I.
Well,
yeah, I was thinking like that was like a trench warfare type
If
of
not,
thing.
you could make a foxhole and just be in it.
Like find a fox.
I like to do that on weekends sometimes.
you do live out there.
Now it's more of like a metaphor, I think.
Yeah. And no, I'll bet you they still do. I mean, not like routinely, because I know that they build walls and they just throw boulders into preformed mesh walls and stuff. Well, they don't do really sandbags much. Well, they do sandbags too. I'm sure they have foxholes. Someone tell us if they have foxholes.
No, didn't on the same topic? Didn't we just talk about this a couple of weeks ago, where they were having a problem with having atheist chaplains?
Yeah, we talked about that.
So if they're having an issue with having atheist chaplains, how, in let's just say God's name, is there some sort of an attack or oppression on religion in the military?
It's not religion, Jay. It's Christianity.
Excuse me. My apologies. You are right. My apologies.
No, but I've actually had right-wing evangelicals. Well, I don't want to say evangelicals. right-wing Christians who have told me Christianity is not a religion.
Yeah, I argued with somebody on
Wait,
the
what?
internet about
I haven't encountered this. Me either. It's like,
I get that a
whoa.
lot. I get
They
that a
say
lot.
that it's not a religion, it's a relationship with the Holy Father.
Oh, go
Oh my God.
F yourself.
Well, then, but you know what? If it's not a religion, then we can take away all those privileges that they have
Oh.
as being
Yeah.
a religion. We can
So
take-
we need somebody going on record with the Vatican, the Pope. I think our new Pope might do this.
So one of our vets says yes, foxholes.
Foxholes.
Okay.
But from the chat room, one of
So
one of
atheists
our,
and foxholes.
So yes,
Okay.
there literally are atheists and foxholes.
in fact, I think he's in a foxhole right now listening to the show.
So again, you're listening to Atheist Airwaves on
He says
cccomradio.com.
that they have to dig one in. Everyone has to dig one in training. It's
Okay.
part of the training process.
And then
So
be in it.
Everyone, yeah, and then presumably you have to do it. Maybe we can get confirmation about whether you're actually required to go
Okay.
inside the foxhole.
That is important because that's what the saying
that's what
is.
the saying
What makes a foxhole versus a hole? Come on, veteran.
You have to have a gun while you're in it.
Okay.
I think that's where I'm going to go with that.
Okay. Anyway.
Because foxes have-
So one of the other things that they said was that that you mentioned the airman who was terminated because they claimed he was terminated
Yeah.
because he objected to a same-sex marriage being performed in the West Point Chapel. And again, first of all, if that was the case, good.
I'd like some more details.
Discharge that guy. But what he was actually discharged for was because he was so out of control, raging. He was insubordinate and completely out of control with his superiors, and so he was discharged because he was. You're not.
Insubordination.
Wildly
You're not allowed.
inappropriate.
You're not allowed to
Freaking
do that
out.
in the military, apparently.
Yeah, no good. So as I was saying before we all decided that we were going to keep talking about this, you're listening to Atheist Airwaves on cccomradio.com, and I think we've beaten that horse plenty good.
I could
probably
beat it
beat
all
the
night.
wall. How could you, Christian? So you have something else for us today, Christian.
Right.
We have, last week we did This Week in Religious History. We're changing it up a little bit. We're having religious and science history, is that right?
That is correct. So we're
Teach
gonna
us the thing.
we're gonna talk about something that happened in religious history, and then we'll compare and contrast to something that happened in science history this week. So 6 years ago this week, British teacher Gillian Gibbons was sentenced by a court in Sudan to serve 15 days in prison for insulting Islam, which is a violation of Article 125 of the Sudanese Criminal Code for insulting the faith of Muslims in Sudan. So never do that.
Well, that was kind of, not that I agree with her, but she shouldn't have done that. That was just kind of dumb.
What was the
Well,
insult?
can I tell you what she did?
Yeah.
Yes,
Please do.
Yes,
Okay,
actually, please
because it's really good.
Is it something I would do?
No, because it's not that bad.
Oh.
It's way below you, Jay.
I think that is a compliment.
And actually, she got off easy because what she was originally charged with was inciting religious hatred. And the people at the time were calling for her to be executed.
Oh.
So 15 days in prison was kind of the compromise that they came to. So what is the heinous thing that she did? She brought a teddy bear to her primary school classroom. And she had 23 students in the classroom. And she let them vote on what they should call their teddy bear, their classroom teddy bear. And the children decided to call the teddy bear Muhammad.
Oh.
So that is what she was.
So they should execute the children
That
too.
was
Right, yeah,
well,
absolutely.
obviously.
that was
wouldn't be
the
fair.
extent of it?
Yeah, that's all that happened.
Wow.
So she was arrested, and while she was in jail, mobs formed outside, mobs wielding machetes, calling for her to be given to them so that they could execute her for calling a teddy bear Muhammad.
I guess I would have thought that they would have been happy that they named the teddy bear Muhammad. I guess
It's against.
it's like an idol.
Yeah.
Well, the second you name it Muhammad, then it's an image of Muhammad, and you're not allowed to have. Well, there are early pictures and paintings of Muhammad, but you're not allowed anymore in most sects to visually depict the prophet. So that's why they want to kill her, is because she named a teddy bear, or allowed a teddy bear.
And when was this? When did this take
This
place?
was 6 years ago,
Okay.
so 1997.
Was that 6 years
So-
ago?
Wait, 1997?
Sorry, 2007.
I was hold on, wait.
Oh, I was thinking it was longer ago. That was pretty
No,
recent.
that's very recent.
Yeah, it was.
One of the school officials said of the verdict that it was a very fair verdict. Quote, she could have had 6 months and lashes and a fine, and she only got 15 days in deportation.
What did they do with the teddy bear?
Surprisingly, they didn't say.
He was burned at the stake.
Sorry, I'm losing it over here. That was good. I was going to ask about the children, but it's a much better question.
But blasphemy laws are becoming a bigger and bigger problem, especially on that side of the world. I mean, obviously we don't have those here. Although I've heard right-wing Republicans calling for blasphemy laws here. So
I'll show them a blasphemy law.
it'll be a blasphemy too.
So that is in comparison to what?
So this week in science history, so December 1st was the 54th anniversary of the signing of the Antarctic Treaty. Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Great Britain, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, Soviet Union, and the United States all signed a treaty that said that Antarctica was to be named a scientific reserve and that no country could claim sovereignty on the continent, so you can't own property there. No military activity is allowed, and scientific research that is done there must be shared amongst all of the nations involved. So free information, which is the way it should be.
Did North Korea sign it?
Not yet.
No.
So what happens when they find oil?
Oh, well,
It all goes out the window.
yeah, exactly. So, but today...
We do have a military base there, don't we? Doesn't you guys have a
It's
Well,
not
I know the
military.
Coast Guard goes there.
The Coast Guard does. I don't think it's a military base. It's an installment, but I don't think they call it a base because they
They're
can't.
peacekeepers. They're keeping the penguins in line.
No, I think it is mostly Coast Guard and like maybe I don't know geological survey people. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
there's
exactly, but
it's all government people, but
Yeah.
or mostly. But
we should ask Terry. Terry would know.
Terry would know. As of today, 47 countries have signed on to that treaty. And Antarctica is actually a really important place for scientific research for a lot of reasons. First of all, there's no factories there, so it's the continent that has the cleanest air quality of anywhere on the planet. So if they want baseline data to see how badly we're messing up the...
Good save, my friend.
Bam! How badly we're messing up the air quality, they can compare that to Antarctica. It's also so dark there for most of the year that they can do a lot of studies of the sky there a lot better. And obviously, what goes on there with global climate change is going to be the difference between whether we're swimming to school and work or dry in our homes. So.
And they have those cute penguins that only live in Antarctica.
I don't know that it's true, but have you ever heard the story where, like, when the helicopters go over, there are some penguins that will follow them until they fall over backwards?
Really?
I don't know if that's true or not, but
We should ask Metallica. Metallica is apparently going to be recording or having a show
In Antarctica?
in Antarctica.
Oh,
Shut
they-
up.
That's like I've heard it like 3 times.
Is he afraid of being set on fire? Is that why he's...
No, I think it's a Death Clock-like stunt. Have you seen Death Clock? It's a cartoon. It's this huge metal band. They like record under the ocean, and they just do the most hardcore things. Well, I heard Metallica is supposed to be putting on a show in Antarctica. Like, it's their biggest new shtick.
Be like 5 guys with lighters.
That's what I thought. I mean, is this going to be like the USO for the icebreakers?
Ride the Lightning was the best album ever, dude.
I guess I would think it would have to be outdoors because they probably don't have anything big enough to have a show
It
in.
would have to be, yeah.
So then
Unless
it
it's
would
like
think
acoustic.
it would be hard to sing
Metallica
and like
acoustic, I like it.
play your instruments because you'd have to have
I-
a lot of like gloves. Like, how are you like playing the guitar?
I don't know if the instruments would function proproperly
Right.
in
And you
sub-zero
can't really
Arctic
sing.
temperatures.
Next week on Atheist Airwaves, we'll be discussing the scientific improbability of actually playing a show in Antarctica.
And I have no actual source for this aside from that I heard it on the radio.
Jay
So-
heard this from Alex Jones.
You might be right. So
That
That was
was
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, they have pretty large research facilities, so there's probably like a place where they're gonna.
There's
have that
no
indoors.
way, because I mean, it would be so cost prohibitive to heat a large space.
Well, I guess I could do like a little. I guess I could do it really like in a room this size. It would just
I've-
be
I've
for
seen
jam session
nobody.
with the
I've
Yeah.
seen the thing. Has everyone, I mean, so I have some official knowledge of what things look like in Antarctica, and it's all very small rooms. It's very cramped.
I saw a really like state of the art research facility. It's like they have like a whole bunch of people, like living there, and they have they grow their own food stuff. Like it's like almost self-sustainable.
But I've watched the thing.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Oh yeah, he had the hat.
Oh boy, here we go. These guys will go on forever. So basically, we have, in one hand, craziness, and on the other hand, sanity. Is that what you were going for?
Yes. So on the one hand, we have people being thrown in jail for teddy bear naming, and not just being.
Thanks for just for cutting all the BS out of it for us.
Watered that all down for you. And not just being imprisoned, but actually they wanted to cut her head off because she named a teddy bear. Versus free information and science for humanity and not just for your team, which I think is yay. Let's have more of that.
Should
Now,
we
let's
have like
talk-
an applause session for this?
How about we go back to crazy religion crap?
We can do that.
And talk
We had a
about what
moment of
Israel
sanity.
is. Yeah, a moment of sanity. Now back into the film.
Someone like the Israeli government who's trying to find this woman for not circumcising.
Not trying.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, they did succeed. So evidently, this mother and father of this child had said, "Oh, we're not going to circumcise the baby," until they divorced, and Dad said, "No, we need to circumcise the child." And evidently, I'm sorry, I'm a little out of date on this. I read this a few days ago, but was it? Which was it? Was it some sort of Jewish law? I don't know what it was.
Yes.
It was Jewish law that said that if there's any disagreement, then that has to go to like a
Default
council.
circumcision.
Yeah.
Basically, that's
Right,
what it
no,
amounts to.
if one parent wants circumcision and the other doesn't, automatically by Jewish law,
They cut the penis.
Right, they cut off the tip of. They mutilate this child's genitals. That's the law.
And she's appealed it, and she's going to appeal it again, evidently. But they've said that she's fined $149 a day for every day the child goes uncircumcised.
Which is insanity.
Till the age of 18?
I don't
Till
know.
infinity.
Yeah.
He goes into the ground still uncircumcised, and they dig him up and.
They posthumously.
I'm
So they aren't Mormons.
I'm getting circumcised for the dead.
It's gonna be a good book. Or
I'll go
something.
on record on saying I'm okay with posthumous circumcision. That's the one genital mutilation I'm okay with. I don't care what you do to my genitals once I'm dead.
Okay.
Okay.
You're going to regret saying that, Christian.
That's on record.
No, I won't because I'll be dead.
Okay, good. Your family's going to regret you saying that.
I believe that.
That's a threat.
Beyond that, there is no medical reason, correct me if I'm wrong, people in the medical industry, to circumcise your baby. And I don't even like...
The other thing is, I've heard varying studies about, read studies that say that being circumcised protects you from STDs, and then I've heard studies that saying not being circumcised protects you from STDs. So
What I've seen
I don't
is
know.
that
I've seen both.
I've seen those studies, and the protection is negligible. I mean, it's within...
And not only that, but your infant isn't going to be engaged in sexual activities. You know, so
I would hope not.
If you're a Catholic, it's very possible. Or Jewish, because...
Oh yeah, they suck.
because they rabbis engage in oral sex with...
Pardon me?
Wait,
you
what?
don't know this?
Wait.
They suck the tip.
Right. So when
What?
in a...
Did you just say that?
Okay, let's dial it down. So it's not oral sex, according to them. It just looks an awful lot like what happens in a Jewish circumcision ceremony is they cut it off. The way they stop the bleeding is they take the penis in their mouth and suck on it until it stops bleeding.
For those of you who cannot see the look of horrifying, this horrified
But
look
the
on both
human
of
mouth
you.
has like an extremely large number of germs, just an extremely large number.
But it helps protect them from STDs.
Well, and also like when that happens, they can spread like
Herpes?
herpes to the
Yeah.
baby. So infants have died because of that. So
Oh my
Yeah, no, there's been
Really?
deaths because
I
of
did
this.
not know that.
Yeah, and
It's
so
pretty horrifying.
Wow.
the Israelis are saying that being against circumcision is basically anti-Semitic, and to which I go, ha 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 ha.
it's more of that stop persecuting us
Yeah.
mentality.
Now, do all babies in Israel have to be circumcised, or this
No.
was just because of the disagreement with the
It
parents?
was because if one parent wants the child to be circumcised, then it is required by
Okay.
law that the child be circumcised. So you don't have to be unless one of your parents wants you to be.
Well, what about, has there ever been any cases like that in the United States that anyone's aware of?
I didn't
Where
know about
the-
it to begin with.
Maybe like the one parent is very angry because the other parent does or does not want it, and they go to
I
court
don't-
over it?
Yeah.
And
I don't
what was
know.
the
And
ruling here?
Oh, here. Oh, I've never. No. That doesn't apply here. That's
No, what I'm saying is, has that ever happened in the
Like a
United States
similar
where
case.
It wouldn't
yeah,
surprise me
somebody,
with
one
some
parent,
craziness, but
yeah.
I mean, it's not like
It would
Jewish
be-
law here,
right.
so.
It would be probably an open and shut case. Whoever was the primary caregiver, according to the court,
Yeah.
would have the ability to do that. Interesting enough, Amanda in the chat room notes that Ustream does not allow you to use the word penis in their
Oh.
chat room.
Really?
I
Bunch of
think-
Puritans, right?
Bunch of misandrous.
What are we supposed to say? Pee.
Wow, Wayner.
Peen.
Peen? It's like a ball peen to hammer?
In some of our cases.
Oh. I'm just playing with my
we
sandbox
have
tools over here.
really gone off track.
I'm sorry. Okay, so aside from circumcising, there's some other crazy people out there.
Oh.
And this one, I didn't know that the circumcision thing could lead to it, but evidently it can. These people, they took their child after a car accident, and who knows how well they could diagnose the child, but evidently it had some sort of brain injury. Regardless, they, instead of taking it to the hospital, took it to church.
For an emergency baptism.
They do those in hospitals.
Do they really?
Yeah.
They have chapels in hospitals, yeah.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
a really
if
good
you
point.
if
They'll
you
go
have,
dunk the baby before it dies?
Get
Yeah.
this child a baptism stat.
yeah. No, I mean, if you take your child to the hospital and they've not been baptized, and you think that there's a risk that they might die, or you think that
Do they take the baby to the water, or
no,
do they take the water to the baby?
a chaplain will come to you.
Can I spray it with holy water?
The chaplain, no,
Sometimes the chaplain will come to you even if you don't want the chaplain to
the
come
chaplain
to you.
will come to you and they will baptize your baby. So you don't need to go to your church to have that done if they're.
If only these people had known that. If there was like a publicity campaign to make people aware, please don't take your dying
Well, they
baby
may
to a
have
church.
been crazy and wanted their church's pastor to do it or something.
I think they were just crazy to begin with.
Well, yeah.
If it can happen anyway, maybe they didn't know about it, but still, why would you rush your child to the church?
So was this child seen by paramedics or anything like that? On scene?
No,
No,
they drove off and took it to a church to have, and the church even said, please don't bring your babies.
They did. They went on record as saying, this is not okay. Don't do this again, please.
Take it to the church. But, again,
This is Russia, though.
This is the harm in believing nonsense. That, we've talked a lot about doing good works because you believe you're going to get saved for it. I mean, the pastor who floats Bibles over to North Korea when really what they need is flipping food.
Yeah.
And a baby needs hospital attention, and it's logically consistent. I mean, this is logical behavior. If you believe in this nonsense, I would take my children to a church first, because 1 to 72 years on this planet versus an infinity of hellfire, that's not even a choice. I mean,
If you believe it.
if you believe it.
Right,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. That's the harm in believing this nonsense, is that you
It
make
makes
bad
silly
choices.
choices seem the right way. Yeah, I agree. Luckily, this couple, and it is in Russia, they're facing jail time. So at least some of the Russians
Good.
are like, hey, you're crazy. You're wow, it's just not okay. I think, what does it say? Someone went on record as saying a psychiatric ward is the best temple for such people.
So did the child die?
Yeah, it died.
Yes, it died.
Yeah. Sad stuff. More idiots abroad.
Now, I wonder
And
if
at home.
they were thinking, were they thinking that the child was going to die anyway, and they took it there to get
No.
baptized, or did they think this was going to
No, they
heal
thought-
the child?
No, they weren't concerned about even healing the child. They were concerned with the child's eternal life, and they wanted the child to go to heaven and not to hell. So it hadn't been baptized yet, so they were afraid that it was going to die,
Right.
and it was much more important to secure the child's place in heaven than it was to secure its life here on earth, which is,
Gotcha.
that is the harm in believing nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Update from the chat room, you cannot say vagina either in the Ustream chat room, so...
Misogynists.
Yeah,
Awesome.
they,
We
We
can talk
can't
to
use
you,
proper anatomical terms.
Yeah.
There was just
That
a
is
story a
silly.
few days ago of some sophomore biology teacher being ousted from his position for using the word vagina.
What?
well, that's sophomoric.
Wow. So let's talk about some idiot atheists. Well, one idiot atheist. You want to take this one?
I'll talk a little bit about it. I don't even know if well, I mean, I do.
I'm way out of the
Talking
picture on
about
this one.
Dawkins?
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins again. We talk about him a lot.
He's-
I wish he would stop talking.
He's in the news a lot.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, well, he's a brilliant scientist. Please read The Selfish Gene. That is or even better,
The God Delusion?
I wasn't a big fan of The God
Oh.
Delusion, actually, but The Greatest Show on Earth.
Yes.
Have you read that?
Mhm.
Oh, it's amazing.
Best book on evolution, I think.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I think if you, regardless of your religious beliefs, read The Greatest Show on Earth. It's about evolution, and it is so fascinating. It doesn't have anything to do with atheism, but it's just a great science book. But we've talked a lot about Richard Dawkins because he says stupid things. The most recent thing that he said via Twitter was, quote, "There's no goodwill so good that someone won't cry racist or sexist or privilege, and someone else won't cry, what about something else?" Which is just so, this is the kind of thing that I hear from white male MRAs all the time. It's so tone deaf, that stop whining about racism, sexism, stop whining about all this stuff because, I have real old white male stuff to worry about.
Well, that's right. That's right in line with what we discussed a few shows ago about the whole elevator gate thing. It's kind of like right in line with that.
It is.
That's
It
basically what he
really
was
is.
saying.
Which, Dawkins was at the center of that, too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, he keeps
That-
doing
that
the
is.
same
Yeah,
thing.
just repeating it
Yeah.
again.
Maybe we need to have a rest on Dawkins on the show.
Yeah, maybe we should have a moratorium on Richard Dawkins. I would really like for him to stop, because he's one of I would have to say, of living atheists, Richard Dawkins is the most well known.
Mhm.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so.
So I wish he would just not say anything about social issues and just stick to evolution, which he's brilliant at. He's a brilliant biologist, and writes so well on it. Like I said, I really enjoyed his science books in a way that I really don't enjoy his atheist book, which was The God Delusion. I also, just to hit on the last part of his statement, what about something else? Well, yeah, everyone has their pet things, and saying that is awful, but it, I'm just,
Yeah, I don't see the point of him even tweeting about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Of course, somebody's going to be upset with anything you say, but that's not the point. There are actual problems out there that need to be addressed.
Yeah. I imagine in my head that his grandchildren came home and were like, "Grandpa, stop saying all your racist, misogynist stuff," and he just got so mad he had to run
He's
to
like,
Twitter.
"No."
Somebody just needs to yank his Twitter account.
You're
not allowed
You gotta
anymore.
pay someone,
Really? Get a publicist.
Right, and give that, he can even approve everything, but nothing can be posted that doesn't come from that guy, right?
Yeah. So there's other, we've got silly atheists just like everybody else has silly atheists of various religions. So we've wanted to talk about this a little bit for a couple of weeks. Different brands of atheism, and I think I was the one who brought this topic up, at least on paper. there's people like some of the folks here in this room that are more militant, activist atheists. They get up in arms and...
In this room?
I don't know. I might not be looking at you, Christian. You're very much more forward. You're active. You're very well informed, and you stay on top of current events. There's other people like me who are just, we don't believe.
When you talk about current events, you're talking about inside baseball atheists goings on, like what messed up thing Richard Dawkins is saying.
Right, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You stay up to date on those things, whereas me, among other things, I stay out of touch with...
You pretty much stay out of touch with just about everything, which...
I like it that way.
I'm going to say, I wish I could do that, because I think my blood pressure would be so much
I'm
better.
sure it would. Come live under my rock.
Is there room?
I don't know. Pretty big guy.
We move in.
But there's folks like me. We don't believe in God. We're atheists. We agree with a lot of things every other person, all the other atheists believe in, or don't believe in. But we're not so activist about it. We're not so militant, or whatever you want to call it.
You're kind of militant. You're just not in the know.
You're right. I am militant.
Yeah. You just don't know what's going on in the community.
We're members of the atheist military. Right?
We have our own.
This sounds bad. This is getting bad here.
It was interesting to me because I was talking to my wife about the show earlier, and she was asking, well, "What are you guys going to talk about?" I talked about this, and she said, "I think I'm a J atheist." I'm like, and then I strangled her.
Oh, you should just strangle me instead. You get in less trouble. I mean, there's closet atheists too. There's people who aren't out of the closet as being non-believers. What other categories can you guys think of?
So before we go there, I was gonna call you Jay, Justin, but Justin, I feel like we're kind of the same kind of atheist.
Probably.
I agree.
What makes you be that kind of militant, in the know atheist? Do you know? Because I don't know that I can answer that question.
I think for me it's because I care, and I get angry and I hate.
Care so much that it
Yeah.
hurts.
The care just makes me hate.
The care just makes me hate.
So if I didn't care about these issues, I wouldn't yell at people or get angry, So.
Yeah.
Well, I guess before I started coming to the meetup group, I was atheist, but I never really had a group of people that I knew that were atheists.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of things that I've just heard you guys talk about and talked about with other people in the group, I never really thought about before. Just because I didn't have anybody else to talk to about it.
Right.
So how do you categorize yourself? Do you categorize
I
yourself?
don't know. I guess I don't categorize myself.
I try not to
But can I
categorize
also
myself.
talk about, a lot of people don't know the difference between agnostic and atheist.
Oh, Christian's going to have another
So-
aneurysm.
No, I'm just saying, I think we should just clarify that for people, because tons of people do not know the difference.
So if you consider yourself an agnostic, you
You're
are not
copping out.
You are not an agnostic. Well, you may be an agnostic, but you are still also an atheist or a theist, and you're probably an atheist. So just come join the party.
There's no gray
Better over
area.
here.
In my opinion,
Yeah.
there's no gray area on that, and those are the people who want to live in the gray area. In my opinion, that's what agnostic is.
Although I will say for me, before I was atheist, I thought I was agnostic. It was sort of like a stepping
Oh,
stone
sure.
to
Right, yeah.
atheism. And so.
What's an easy step to make? Because
It doesn't have that negative ring to it. It doesn't have the negative
theists
connotation.
have spent millennia making atheist a bad word. I mean, I've been to humanist meetings where humanists have said, "Why do you call yourself an atheist? That's just inviting trouble."
Yeah.
So I totally understand why you'd want to be called something else besides an atheist. But please know this, you're an atheist. You are an atheist. There is no third option. You either believe in a God or you don't. You're
Right.
either a theist or you're an atheist. Now, you can be a theist agnostic who says, I believe in God despite the fact that there is no way for you to know that if there's a God or not. Or you can be an atheist agnostic who says, I don't believe in a God despite the fact that, I don't think you can know. And frankly, that's the more rational position, which is, if you can't know, you
Why
don't believe in
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Thank you for summing that up. That really explains it well for me, because you can not know. I mean, I don't know. That
100% certainty does not exist for anything.
Right, but just because I don't know doesn't mean that I can say I'm agnostic or, oh, there might be, so I'm going to sit over here in this group of people who they also think they might now. No, either you don't know, or you do know.
Right. If somebody asks you if you believe in a God or whatever, and you reply, no, I'm agnostic, or I'm an agnostic, you're not answering the question.
I'm not sure. Okay, you're not sure.
Because we're not asking you what you know, we're asking you what you believe.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. I think that's a perfect.
Agnostic means knowledge, right?
Right.
So.
And I'm a big word person. I've always, with curse words and stuff like that, it's always made me very, very mad when people, why do you say that? That's such a negative word. No, it only has as much negativity as you give it.
Right.
And that's the thing with atheist, is you give it the power. You allow it to have a negative connotation. You don't fight that. I think the more you use those negative words, the less they have that meaning.
Yeah. I have a couple of more types of atheists that I'd like to throw out there for discussion.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
So the first one I think kind of ties into our discussion about agnostics is what I've decided just today to call the Neville Chamberlain atheists. The people who are like, yes, there's no God. Now just sit down, shut up, and don't tell anyone that because it's disrespectful. Just pretend that it's okay. Pretend that it's completely harmless to believe in a God. Pretend that you don't have these feelings. Let them talk about their beliefs, but don't you talk about your beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I hate those people.
Yeah.
Well, I will say I never bring it. If somebody asks me about it, I will answer truthfully, but I would never.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
I never bring it up to people.
I don't
would
either.
never. I would never interrupt somebody and be like, "Oh, why are you Christian? That's so stupid."
I've been known to do that.
If people.
That's why I'm saying you're a militant atheist. You're just not a knowledgeable atheist.
Okay, that's a good point. Good
I
distinction to
did
make.
just recently, when I was home for Thanksgiving, talk. My aunt is she's very liberal, very left wing, but she's also very Catholic. And so, I did ask her, well, how do you rationalize that to yourself? You believe in gay marriage, and you believe in pro-choice, and how do you rationalize continuing to go to a church that's against what you believe in? So I'll ask people questions like that, but I try not to attack people.
Mm-hmm. I usually wait. I like people to get to know me because, contrary to popular belief, I'm a really nice guy.
So he says.
But, well, I mean, until you do something ridiculous like take your child to a church instead of a hospital, and then I'm the most outrageously obnoxious person you're ever going to encounter. But I'd like people to get to know me and say, oh, this is a great guy, and then they find out that I'm an atheist because they say something like, oh, what church do you go to?
I'm going to make a distinction here. In person, you are a nice guy.
Don't say that. I've got video evidence that I do exactly what I do online in person.
That's true. Once you know somebody, but when you meet, when someone meets you online, they get a different impression of Christian.
You weren't there when Josh's brother came to the meetup for the first time. Everyone at once. I mean, it was like the first sentence out of his mouth, and I just inhaled, and everyone at the table went, no. And I did it anyway.
People in Texas, especially in South Texas, have a different idea of what being nice is.
That's true.
So
you've got a good point. So, did you have any other brands of atheism?
The last one I had was idiot atheists, which were you kind of no, not you.
Oh.
These are atheists who have bad reasons for being atheists, and this is probably the one that I hate the most. Is people who are atheists because whatever, or they're atheists because they will actually say because I'm angry with God. And like if you're angry at something,
I've never heard that.
Or they'll just be like, because it's dumb to go to church. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it is, but.
But do you understand why?
Right, exactly.
Those are the atheists that really. Those are the ones that, I mean, even more than what Richard Dawkins does. I would rather you be an atheist for a good reason, a rational reason, than be an atheist because you think it's cool or.
At the same time, I think if you categorize yourself as an atheist, if you think you might come out to a meetup. We might be able to convince you to not be such an idiot about your atheism.
Indeed. That's all I had.
Again, you're listening to Atheist Airwaves, and you can hear us on cccomradio.com. Let's close this out a little bit by talking with, not with, but about one of our...
I wish I could talk to him.
I bet you do! one of our favorite politicians, Rick Santorum.
Oh my god, I can't even know.
I've made it through the show.
For those of you not watching on webcam, the thing that just happened, they almost rage quit on us. So now he's saying that essentially it's his right, or it's the right of whomever. I don't get into politics, so I'm not going to try and say who he's speaking for, but it's the right to deny women contraceptive coverage. Contraceptive coverage. Thank you, in healthcare plans, as under the First Amendment. He's.
If that were true, any employer could say, we don't have to cover blank treatment because we don't believe in it. It's not our religion.
That's his argument.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if that were true, then any employer could refuse any kind of treatment that they felt wasn't correct.
If you worked for a company that was owned by Christian Scientists or Jehovah's Witnesses, they could have a health care plan they would charge you for that would include just taking you to emergency baptisms. And you just, we're going to go pray over you.
Or not, something a little more realistic, like not allowing a blood transfusion, not paying for a blood transfusion.
Right, that's not covered.
Or not paying for an organ transplant.
More largely, what this says to me, and please feel free to disagree with my socialist behind, this is why our healthcare system based on employers rather than having a single payer system is so horrible, because you lend yourself to your job being tied to what kind of healthcare you can get, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I completely.
This is more Christians complaining about not being able to, force their beliefs on other people, which has been the theme of the show.
It really has with the military folks. So I guess the person that was arguing against him here was Dean. Who is Dean? I don't know. Howard Dean. So it's the former governor, I guess, or was it Vermont he was the former governor of? He pointed out that he viewed the Vietnam War as immoral, but had continued to pay his taxes throughout the conflict anyway. In saying that this is one country, we all have to live by a set of things that are passed in Washington and are agreed to by the court.
Or how about if you have a family member that is pretty much brain dead and you want to continue to keep them alive on a ventilator for years and years, and we're all paying for that, and I don't think that that's morally correct, but everyone's still paying for that.
I agree, yeah. It's something that's agreed upon in Washington as, this is either is or isn't law, and the First Amendment doesn't cover what you think you want for everyone.
Yeah. Government is supposed to help people. That's what the purpose of organizing a civilization is all about. And so if your idea of laws is to prevent people from helping each other, then you need to get out of the way and let the adults in the room take care of it.
Mm-hmm. So this is just the next installment of Santorum being a complete... This is the next installment of Santorum being a complete...
And Justin just rage quit.
I heard Santorum, I just got really mad.
Thanks for the mic drop. So, real quick,
let's blow through this monk thing, because my computer quit, so I don't have my notes. But
okay, so the monk thing. So there's the body of a Buddhist monk after 30 years of being buried. Actually, I'm sorry, he was buried in 1927, I think, if memory serves, and he wanted to be buried in the pose, the lotus pose. The what?
Lotus.
Yeah, the lotus pose. And he said, dig me up at X time, because he apparently knew that he was not going to decay. They dug him out of the ground. He wasn't mummified. He wasn't, embalmed or anything.
Magic.
Magically, he has not decayed.
It's magic.
Since he was buried. He's been, for the last 30 years, I guess, out of the ground and on display. He apparently still has soft muscle tissue, and he looks kind of bloated, but...
What is up with his face? Because, I mean,
it looks weird.
They look like he's like, oh, he could be alive. He's, whatever.
Yeah,
it's like, what is up with his face?
That's the part that got me. They're like, he's still living. Really? But okay, so admittedly, he looks like he hasn't decayed much.
No, it's a good mummification.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it looks like. It looks like mummification, but they're saying, oh, he wasn't mummified. It wasn't in, the permafrost or whatever. Do you guys think he's a mummy?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so that's
And in closing, he is a mummy.
But people were commenting, oh, his point was that your soul never dies, but your body does. But I was like, but that's the opposite. That's the opposite of what happened, though.
Okay, so
Exposed.
this has been your Rage Quit episode of Atheist Airwaves. Don't forget to visit us.
That was my first ever face microphone. No, but I don't know whether anyone else has looked into it further, but this guy had a medical degree. There is a... You okay?
He said medical degree.
I know that totally broke the show. Is that what broke the show?
Face microphone.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Buddhist had a medical degree?
Okay, so this guy was a Buddhist monk who had a medical degree.
Sounds like a joke.
He walked into a bar. Okay, so this guy, there is my computer died, and so I can't even pronounce it anyway. But there is a procedure by which monks have successfully mummified themselves. What they do is they eat a low-calorie diet with a lot of exercise. They go to town and get rid of every single bit of their... I'm going to tie the Civil War in here, just to watch.
This is going to be good.
They get rid of all of their body fat. Now, going back to the Civil War, the Confederate Army really did not have a lot of food and provisions, and the Union Army had a lot. And what you would see on the battlefields there is that for days, the bodies would be lying out there, and the Confederates would look awesome, and the Union corpses would be all bloating and black, and they were white at the time when they died, because of the body fat, and because the more nutrition you have, the more decay you're going to get into. So that's part of it. But then what they would do is that they would transition into a high arsenic diet. And have themselves entombed. And one of this guy's last wishes was that he was buried packed in salt. Which
This guy?
This guy.
I didn't know
They
that.
didn't mention
I didn't pick
Yeah,
that up.
no, I had...
That's pretty key.
Right?
Yeah, you
that's
had
a
to dig
detail.
that one up.
I had to dig that one up. That was an important detail of this guy's. So what he did was probably this known monk ritual, which enables your body to self-mummify,
Right.
combined with packing yourself in salt.
He taxidermied himself.
Right. And, I mean, salt has been used for millennia to preserve
beef
meat.
jerky.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going on a long journey, you pack your meat in salt so that it doesn't decay. That's what this guy did. It's not magic.
Yeah, he's a friggin' mummy.
Yes, he's a mummy. And his face looks really jacked up.
Yeah.
It must be
That's
the
not
salt.
It's like
good.
melted.
It does. It's bad.
There'll be a link in the show notes. You can go and look at him.
So, we're out of time, guys.
We're way out of time.
Don't forget to visit us at ccatheist.com to check out all of our upcoming events. If you forget, every Sunday we meet and chat and drink. This weekend it's at Surf Club, Executive Surf Club downtown. Thank you for listening to Atheist Airwaves on Corpus Christi Community Radio. We are sponsored by Corpus Christi Atheists. CCA ascribes to the principles of Atheism Plus, which is a term used to designate groups dedicated to promoting social justice and countering misogyny, racism, homo, bi, transphobia, ableism, and other such bigotry inside and outside of the atheist community.
Looking at you, Richard Dawkins.
Yeah. Thanks again, YGO, for your outro music.
See ya.
Later.
See ya. So warm in here.
I know.
Fucking sweaty.
So.